Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I'm talking to the family or families who have a loved one who has been sick with substance use, mental health issues, treatment that doesn't work if you can even get them to go to treatment and stay long enough, medication that doesn't work if you can even get them to take the medications. They're using all kinds of recreational drugs, especially marijuana, and they are in complete denial, and you have been dealing with this for years and years and years and years. I want to ask you a very simple question. I want to know what you think it is that's holding you back. What is holding you back from making the decision that your loved one can't make? In other words, why are you still dealing with this? What is your biggest fear? What are you afraid of? And I know these are very sort of in your face questions. I'm not trying to offend you, but this is the only thing that we do at our law firm. I don't do anything else, and I take the responsibility of saving your family and your loved one really, really seriously. It's my mission. It's our mission. It's my wife's mission. She is my law partner. And so I want you to think about, like, what are you afraid of? And I'll give you an example. We have some families where they have been dealing with this for so long that they're afraid, and I know this sounds a little crazy, they're actually afraid that their loved one will go to treatment and get better, and their entire universe, and I mean the family's entire universe, is going to change. What do we do now? Because, as human beings, we're very resistant to change. It's uncomfortable, and our subconscious mind equates change with danger, which is why it doesn't feel good. And if all of a sudden, a year from now, your entire world has changed, your loved one has become productive, they can now have meaningful relationships, they go to work, they have friends, and they travel, and all of the things that you would associate with somebody who is living life to the fullest. And I think that is a very frightening sort of almost image for a family, because they don't know what that's like anymore. And I completely understand, okay? And we get families that tell us, well, I'm afraid that my loved one won't talk to me. Well, yeah, it's possible for a brief period of time that they won't talk to you. They might even be mad at you. But I know that when you look at them, it looks like your loved one, but it is not your loved one. It's not your son, it's not your daughter, it's not your spouse or your significant other or a sibling. It looks like them, but it's not. Because years ago, when they first became sick, their mind was kidnapped. And externally, it looks like them. But inside, right now, there's a completely different operating system running the show. And that's one of the reasons that you cannot sort of talk them into saving themselves, for lack of a better word, because they're operating in a different universe than you and I. And so I get it. It's a little bit frightening. In fact, it's a lot of frightening. And you may have already spent time, trying to address this issue. Perhaps you did an intervention. One of the things that we're actually big fans of, believe it or not, a great intervention is awesome. Great way to get somebody into treatment, and then we can help you to keep them there. But the idea that, I'm going to ask you, we might ask you to spend some money. Yeah, on legal fees. You got it. You got to pay for a lawyer. But in the grand scheme of things, we're probably the cheapest part of the whole process, because treatment is a whole lot more. But getting them into treatment is the key. Getting them into the right treatment facility, clinically appropriate, is very, very important, and keeping them there long enough. And I know all of this is scary. It is. It's frightening, asking you to make the commitment to change. But 1 year from now, things can look completely different. 1 year, okay? And I know you say, well, 1 year, I'm going day to day. But I want you to think about a time when you weren't dealing with this, when your loved one wasn't sick like this. Okay, that was years ago, probably. And so in the grand scheme of things, this 1 year is going to be a little blip. on the radar of life. And in all likelihood, they're going to start to improve sometime in the first 3 to 6 months. That's what we typically see. But we got to get them to the 1 year. Got to get them to 1 year, because we know from experience that somebody who can maintain recovery for a year is more likely than not to be able to maintain recovery for the rest of their life. I mean, but that's not set in stone. I can't make a guarantee, but I'm just telling you what it typically looks like. 3 to 6 months of really great treatment, and then the continuum starts. 12 steps, continue with treatment, getting a sponsor, going to meetings, doing the things that you need to do to maintain recovery forever. So 1 year from now, things can look completely different. Imagine a world, a universe where you are not dealing with this insanity, where your family is not being destroyed by this metastasizing cancer. I know that's a little frightening, and I'm asking you, my team is asking you to make that commitment. But in my experience, if you don't do that, if you cannot do that for whatever reason, if you cannot overcome the fear, like any disease, it will eventually destroy the host. And because this is a family disease, it will destroy your family too. But you know that because you have been living it day to day, every week, every month, and every year. So what I would say to you is, look, I know that you're afraid. I know some of our families have become almost codependent on the whole craziness of this thing because they don't know any other way to live. I have a whole team that's going to hold your hand through the whole process. We're going to cross every bridge as we come to it. And there are going to be some days that are going to be bad. There are going to be some days that are going to be good. But over that 1 year period, and I'm not telling you you're going to hire me for a year or my phone for a year, but over that year, while the family is also healing from the trauma of all of this craziness, the good days are going to start to outnumber the bad. The good weeks are going to start to outnumber the bad. The good months are going to start to outnumber the bad until we get to a year. Okay? But it takes time. Okay? And anybody who tells you otherwise either doesn't know what they're talking about or is just blowing smoke up your proverbial backside. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'm not going to sit here and do that. That's not the way we operate. I'm always going to tell you the truth, even at risk of offending you. I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is, this is how it works. This is how recovery works. But we got to get you past your fears, whatever they may be. So I want to put that video out there because just yesterday we had a call from a family who desperately needs to do this. They need to file for guardianship over their adult child, okay? And they're looking for every reason not to do it. And it's not because they're bad parents or they don't care. They're afraid. They're afraid. So with that said, I appreciate you tuning in. I would love a thumbs up for this video. Please post a comment. Please subscribe. If you have a topic for another video or an issue or a question you want me to answer, post it. I will make a video for you. So with that said, thank you for tuning in. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.